Good morning, everyone. Welcome to week 5 of our journey towards Epiphany. I'm Marcy Menard, and I am the spiritual direction pastor over at Elm Street Congregational Church in Southbridge. So, some of you may be wondering, well, why are we still meeting? I mean, Christmas is over, right? Well, not quite. Our journey to Advent continues on until Epiphany, which is next week. So, what we'll focus on today is that time in between Christmas and the New Year. I think often, we reflect on the past year right now. We look back at, what we need to let go, of what we did, the accomplishments we made, maybe some regrets over things we didn't get to do that we would have wanted to do, and all kinds of stuff about our lives. But we often don't focus on our spiritual journey for the year. So today we're going to do that. We're going to focus on our spiritual journey through our time in Advent, but also I'm going to encourage you to focus on the year as well. And so I have to say, the stresses of Christmas are now over. It's a good time to do this. It's time to relax, to breathe. I have some candles lit in my house that have a great scent. I have a nice warm scarf on because it's very cold out and it's icy, sleeting. And so I have a blanket and I'm nice and cozy. And I think that's important for you to find, a place that you can sit and relax, maybe with a cup of tea, just to do some reflecting and some thinking. And I've done this myself over the last few days, and I found that I was a little overwhelmed with everything spiritually that has happened, that has been accomplished, at least for me this year. And so I think you too might be surprised if you look at your spiritual growth for the year. And so I just invite you to relax and to just listen for a bit. So again, our journey continues and Christ's journey continues. We are at a time in Advent that I was thinking about today is that the birth of the child, the Christ child, has happened. Technically, according to biblical history, on Epiphany is when the Magi actually do go to visit Jesus. It's for the church, it's a different time period than what actually happened in history. But laying all that aside, I think about Mary, the busyness of the birth, everyone coming to visit, the shepherds, the overwhelming parts for Mary of not having enough room in the inn, having to give birth in a stable or in a cave, somewhere where there were animals that were being fed and there. And I think about all the stresses that Mary had, and I think about all the stresses that we have. Like Mary had to prepare for the birth of Christ, we prepare for the holidays and the celebrations of it. But there's this lull after a birth. There's this lull when you're finally home. You've got a comfy place with your baby, and yeah, you're busy. You're feeding, you're changing the baby, all this stuff. But there's still that time for peace right after a birth. And I like to think that Mary had found some peace after the birth as well. And so we reflect, on this past year spiritually, and we think about different things, and I would just invite you to think about different things in your life. So how was your prayer life this past year? Did you find ebbs and flows in it? Did you find that during times of trials or hard times that you didn't pray? Is there something to learn from that? Did you find new ways of reflecting or meditating or connecting with God? Is this something to work on in the new year? Like maybe your prayer life is dry for you, and more growth needs to happen there. Maybe changing things up, trying something new or different for you would help you connect with God in a new way. And you could have done that, and good. I hope that you have, that you found new ways. Um, how is prayer working in your life? How is God working in your life? You know, it's are there things in my life that I need to let go? You know, were there moments of movement in the past year where you saw God's movement working in your life, where you saw answered prayers? And what does that tell you about the new year coming ahead? You know, is there a message there like my prayers were answered? I need to pray. Or I feel distant from God. Is there something that I need to do in the next year to feel closer to God? Did I move in spirit with my prayers? So, in other words, you know, being connected with God and praying about certain things. Did I take action on my prayers? So if I'm praying for somebody, this is just an example. If I'm praying, you know, that homelessness, um, that people will have homes. Am I inviting people into my home? Am I helping? Am I volunteering? Is God calling me to movement? Is God calling me to action in some way? And I know we've explored a lot of this through the journey towards Epiphany in this program. Um, Did something in my spiritual life bring me joy this year? Was there something that I did with my community? Is there something that I did for myself? Was there something that a new way of discovering God? Did that bring me joy? Did that bring me life? And what things can I do in the upcoming year that will bring more life and joy for others and for myself? Was there something during the year that I felt really uncomfortable with? So was I angry in some way? Was there something that just said to me, "Ugh, I don't want to go there." You know, we all have it. We don't want to go there. And yet I find that those are the very things that we need to look into, learn about, pray about, um, seek God about, and say, okay, what is God saying to me through my anger? What is God saying to me through my discomfort? You know, being a Christian is never a comfortable thing. And yet we're asked and drawn to that discomfort always for a reason that God has for us. And then I would just say, you know, where did I find hope this year? Where did I find hope? Where did I find peace? And what are my own hopes? What are my own wishes? And how did I find enough peace? Did I have enough time for me this year? Did I take enough time to take care of myself? Did I take enough time in the quiet or to reflect or to meditate? Did I find my spiritual center this year? And if I didn't, well, how can I try to involve that a little more self-care, a little more time for myself? You know, oftentimes I focus on community or church, but this focus has been on us as individuals. And I think it's so important to take care of self and to find our own inner peace and balance in order to help be a part of a community or be a part of a church. And so I would just say to you, the things that haven't been done, let them go. You know, every day is a new day. We're coming upon a new year. You know, let God release any guilt that you're feeling. If there's anybody that you need to forgive, just release it all. It's cleansing for you. It's cleansing for others. And it really brings you closer to God and that connection with God. And so I would encourage you to just be at peace and let the year go. But reflect on it first. Reflect on it, meditate on it. Do it in a nice, cozy place, so that you can, and alone, so that you, quiet, so that you can be real with yourself. I think that's the most important thing, is to be real with yourself and answer the questions honestly. And so I have a prayer for you today, and I found this prayer. It's by John Donahue, and he does a lot of really good prayers if you want to look him up. And so I leave you with this. As this year draws to an end, we give thanks for the gifts it has brought, and how they became inlaid within, where neither time nor trial can touch them. We bless this year for all we have learned, for all we have loved and lost, and for the quiet way it brought us nearer to our invisible destination. Amen. And so in this time after the birth, I would just invite you in the week ahead to start reflecting, start thinking about your spiritual life as well, in this next week. And then next week we will tie it all up, and talk about Epiphany, next Wednesday. Thank you for joining me today. If you could, I know I'm early. My schedule has been a little hectic, as I'm a hospice chaplain as well. So I appreciate your patience. And you can watch this anytime or watch it again. All right. God bless you. Have a very safe and very happy New Year. And I hope you find some peace. All right. God bless you and have a good afternoon.